Is the expectation you've got to win by your second year? Or the franchise just can't do it for you? Good morning. Welcome to the episode of Hard Foul Radio. Appreciate you for listening in today. This is the show that values time. I value mine. You should value yours. So I appreciate you spending some of that value time here with me today. Let's get started. So this is kind of a rant, but not really, because I think there's fair points to be made here. So supposedly Zion's family and him supposedly are unhappy with the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're saying they're dysfunctional and they want Zion out of New Orleans. And then about 20 minutes after that news broke, it was yesterday morning, Luka came out. He's training with the Slovenian national team, and he comes out and says, you know what? I'm upset with the Mavericks. Like, Donnie Nelson was my guy. And then, obviously, Rick Carlisle leaving. You know, Luka's saying, hey, you know what? I'm kind of frustrated. Okay. I'm all for player empowerment. I'm all for guys wanting to move if they want to move. You can't really stop them. Yes. Is it irritating when they want to move off your team? Correct. But the fact of the matter is, there's not enough of these guys who are superstar enough of or big enough superstars for everyone to not have anyone. Like, even if Zion were to leave tomorrow, let's just say hypothetically, the Pelicans still have Brandon Ingram, could bring back Lonzo Ball. Like, they still have a roster that they could compete. Do they have a superstar? Probably not, but there's only so many superstars, and which Zion is more superstar via fame than he is superstar via talent and or play right now. And I love Zion. This is not a bash Zion segment. Luka is a superstar, just had a playoff series. The last two playoff series are proven he is superstar ready and superstar capable. But my question to all of these up-and-coming superstars, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Zion, Luka, Trae Young, what's going to make you happy? Because supposedly with the last generation of superstars is you want to go to a good organization. Cut the crap. You don't want to go to a good organization. You want to play with your homies. And if that's all you really want to do, fine. But just call it that. You want to play with your homies. I want to ask everyone that's listening right now, what is a good organization? Like, be for real. What is a good organization? Historically, the two best organizations are the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. Well, the Celtics, after accumulating draft pick after draft pick after draft pick, still lost Kyrie Irving, who left, superstar. Got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who we all like, but have unraveled and not met expectations and just moved their coach. Their coach, who was one of the brightest young coaches in the league, went, I don't want to coach no more. I'll go be president. Lost in the first round. Possibly could have got swept, except for a Jason Tatum 50-point game. The Lakers are historically great, right? Except since Kobe's last title, they proceeded to get swept in the playoffs, missed the playoffs year after year after year. And even though they just won a title last year, they were one of the 5 worst teams of the 2010s in terms of winning percentage. And post-2010 got one title that I'm not going to say Mickey Mouse ring, but the bubble, we've seen the guys who performed in the bubble and then how they did outside of the bubble, clearly different atmosphere. Even with having Kobe Bryant and LeBron James in this decade, you got one ring. You got a first-round loss, a first-round sweep, missed the playoffs several times. Those are the two historically great franchises. Well, let's be fair. Let's use current context on what a good NBA franchise is. And I'm asking because at this point, I'm just as confused. If all these guys, like, you got to think about this. Zion's in his second year. His second year. Is the expectation you've got to win by your second year? Or the franchise just can't do it for you? Luka's made the playoffs multiple times. Is the expectation by his third year he's got to win a title? Or the franchise isn't good enough? Let's stick with currently great franchises. Supposedly currently great franchises. The Warriors. We all would consider the Warriors are the last great NBA dynasty. Missed the playoffs the last 2 years. 2 years ago had the worst record in the league. We're not sure if Klay's coming back. Steph just played out of his mind at an all-time level. Still couldn't get to the postseason. The Spurs, 50 wins. Popovich never misses the playoffs. Back-to-back years not in the playoffs. In the East, the Sixers. That's supposed to be next. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. They might lose to the Hawks. They've had disappointing playoff losses year after year after year. They're going to lose to the Hawks this year. Lost to the Raptors. Lost to, like, where? Who's great? The Bucks? The Bucks have the most wins in the NBA the past 4 seasons. Does anyone think Milwaukee's a great franchise? People are talking about Giannis leaving. What is the franchise that these players supposedly think they're going to go to, and they're just going to be so well run, so great from top to bottom, and they're just never going to lose, and they're always going to have a chance to win a title. They don't exist. We consider the Miami Heat to be a great franchise. They just got swept. They're considered what? They made it to the finals, and all we did was call them one of the weakest final teams ever. Where's the great franchise? Asking for a friend. Where is it? Like, name a franchise that you're like, oh, that's a really well-run franchise. The Dallas Mavericks had 50-win seasons for years with Dirk, got a title with Dirk, and then had a slow stretch post-Dirk, and now with Luka, look like they're going to be right back. If they get him another star, that's going to be a potential finals team. Are the Phoenix Suns a great franchise now just because they got Chris Paul? No, they've been terrible for a decade. Are the Utah Jazz a great franchise? Great regular season, not a lot of postseason success. Who, the Knicks? Don't get me started. This idea that guys are just going to keep moving, fine. You're grown men. You can do whatever you want. No one can stop you. Make millions of dollars. Make your own life choices. Cool. But call it what it is. You'll want to play with your homies, or you'll want to play in certain cities because of the lifestyle you want to live. Don't call it you want to go to a great organization. Don't say you want a team that's not dysfunctional. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving went to Brooklyn. Brooklyn hasn't been good since they moved to Brooklyn. Call it what it is. Moving on from there. So last night, Tony, Will, and I got into one of our famous Giannis versus Embiid arguments. And my thing is, I think Giannis is a better player than Embiid. They always, just blow it off, say, all right, no, Joel Embiid does everything better, blah, blah, blah. So let me ask you something. Is being the best or being better than someone means that you do more things better than them, or that you do your thing better than them? Because Giannis does his thing to the tone of 30 and 11 consistently. Giannis consistently scores more. Giannis consistently rebounds more. Giannis consistently gets more assists. Joel Embiid has better footwork in the post, obviously, and has a better natural shot. I don't think Embiid is a great shooter or a great jump shooter, but he's got clearly better natural form and a better natural jump shot than Giannis. We know what Giannis is. But for all of these people that come out and say Giannis is all he can do is run to the rim, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If all Giannis can do is run to the rim and people, quote unquote, stopping him. Now, last year, I'm not going to excuse last year. He played really bad in the playoffs and the Heat did. The Heat really got to him. But this year, he's been, quote unquote, held in check. All he can do is run to the basket. And he's still giving you 30 and 13 plus. I just want to know, what's our standard for Giannis? He's not LeBron James. He's not Steph. I don't think even now, I don't think he's Kawhi. He's obviously not KD. Like you can see in this series, just seeing them both on the same court, Kevin Durant is clearly a better player than Giannis Antetokounmpo. I even said last night, James Harden, who I'm not a fan of the way that he plays, but James Harden is a better player than Giannis Antetokounmpo. But if I'm going off the fact that this guy being quote-unquote stopped, he's giving you 30 and 13, I've seen Joel Embiid be completely taken out of games. Part of that is they can just foul Ben Simmons, and you can just neutralize Embiid. But I've seen Embiid, who was dominant in the first half of games, irrelevant in the second half in the series against the Hawks. I've seen Embiid be great in spurts against the Raptors and totally taken out of the game against the Raptors, as well as Embiid losing in the first round last year. What's our standard for Giannis? What's our standard for his greatness? Yes, Embiid has great post footwork. I'll give you that. He's got that over Giannis 10 out of 10 times. But ask yourself, who is being better or being the best mean you do more things overall better, or you do the thing you're supposed to do better than everybody?